But like, see, like, that's the kind of shit that just makes me not enjoy playing this. It's a perfect example. The guy walks up to me, does my entire health bar while being a full tank and being unkillable. You know what I mean? It's just really, like, it's just not enjoyable.
Attention gamers, as Riot's #1 fan and loyal advocate of their game who never complains about them being a trashy greedy piece of cat litter corrupt company, I feel it's my duty to investigate why their players are enjoying their game less so that they can fix it, and today's revelation is because tank meta sucks and no one enjoys playing in it. I'm not saying tanks have been given disproportionately large OP penises, but when the top supports in every meta are tank-engaged mofos who rush warmogs, it does leave my one eyebrow more erect than the other. And while tanks should have a place in every game, having a meta centered around 1 or 2 unkillable players on each team just isn't fun to play when the general player base gets a lot more of that sweet dopamine from feeling like they can play any champ and enjoy the satisfaction of actually doing big boy chunks of damage to the people they don't like in a video game. So in today's video I took to the streets of the Rift to investigate why tank support meta is a thing and if being the one tank that everyone avoids in games is enjoyable. Starting on Lantern Larry, the idea was for me to be a bony bush Wookiee that is the best hooker these unintentionally celibate gamers have ever been with, and after a first blood it was looking good. But if we fast forward just a short 5 minutes into the game, you'll see that I was late on a roam up mid, so my team's jousting Jakob got the shaft as the windshitter was all like by fencing Felicia, and I came in to try and salvage things a bit but with no luck. This is where I made the mistake of staying in his lane for 20 more seconds while contemplating a trip up north, which was enough to evoke the famous mid laner mental boom. We went bot together, but he started spam pinging me before quite literally running it down. This continued for the next 20 minutes as we unsurprisingly got shit on all because I accidentally leached the XP of 2 minions and we all gave up. But this video is supposed to be about new annoying things causing people to stop playing League, so I queued up a second to investigate the tank meta pandemic. It was time to exhibit the ribbit, and considering the enemy bot lane was squishier than a fat chick's titty, we had the advantage. Their girl with the guns wasn't sure if she was better off standing still auto-attacking or if firing a W in the direction she should have been running would be better, so we just put that poor girl out of her misery. I had a giant's belt, so I wasn't afraid to do dumb shit like engage behind a wave and absorb literally all 6 of the enemy team's abilities, which meant Gothic Gosu over here could go full-blown epilepsy all over them, and all I really had to do was to find out how many licks it takes to get to the center of a dead bitch, and the answer is definitely less than 3. At one point we got a notification that the Sky ate a platter of Pantheon earlier and it would be shitting the meal out shortly, so I hit a little Doug Trio action to pay my respects at Jinx's funeral, and things were going well. I sat in the tall weeds for long periods of time hoping that anorexic gun slut wouldn't realize that the Kench had been unbenched and the element of surprise had her looking like a snack. I occasionally would mouth her only for my carry to say drop it like I'm some dumb dog, but I knew what I was doing. At one point when we were slipping out to take a quick group piss in the shrubs, he got caught and I immediately sprawled into action, prepping my stomach acid to be introduced to this Jinx, and even though it was a cute little trade and I was support diffing the shit out of this blood bride, you could tell he was getting ready to flame me. That is until the enemies all quit 15 minutes into the game and I got to have no fun again. Game 13 I decided to play Nautilus because it feels more fitting for a video game controller to control the Titan submarine in this context, but you can see I have a windshitter on my team with the name I'm Suicidal and a quote-unquote nice person not exactly being true to his name, so this was going to get interesting. I was trying to get all Disney and shit and learn how to train my dragon, so I walked up to Jacqueline Sparrow to say what's up, but psych surprised Leona in the bush as both tank supports beat the shit out of the carries, and while I had an ignite that I didn't use, my ADC had a set of eyes that he didn't use, which long story short meant he was surprised to see the jungler's nutsack draped over his dead body and things weren't looking good. It quickly became clear that the 2 tanks were the babysitters in this lane as we kind of just ignored each other, knowing that any ADC at this point in the game would be outmatched by our bullshit, so I chased the pirate and she chased the dipshit in a totally uncoordinated shitfest until I had to do something flashy to make sure their dead weight left the crime scene first. But then my quote-unquote carry made a negligible effort to kite or look alive, so she passed away, died the opposite of a hero, that pathetic baby wyvern, and then I was left to play a quick game of tag with shielded Sheila, so I tossed her a casual 6-ton anchor and did a little circle jerk on the ground for the kill. At one point some ape came down and I figured I would wingman him a bit as we talked about BDSM and chains and shit, and eventually my efforts did lead to her flashing him, which was such a good memory for him it left him stunned, but I was like, bro, snap out of it. We have a group with tons of damage, shields, burst health and an ADC coming in as I requested she jump, and we sent her packing. Unfortunately you don't just kill tanks, so Curious George pissed off and I was forced to put this steel-titted submarine in reverse because that is just not a fun fight for me to stick around for. For some reason my -6 IQ ADC, who couldn't kill a fly if it was paralyzed and camping out under her foot, decided that walking out past our wave in front of a Leona Miss Magnet of LP was a good idea, which meant I had to snap back to screen lock and try to be the hero by bailing out this useless pile of meninges, which also took place during a gank, leaving me in a dodge or die situation, to which I dodged. And then I undodged and died, #fuckme. But hey, at least our Yasuo named I'm Suicidal was staying true to his name. Anyways, I didn't have time to Google if you can catch defective brain cell disorder, so I figured it'd be best if I just get some distance from that smolder, to which I came mid and generously helped this windshitter experience what it's like to still have color on your screen after a fight breaks out in this game. We decide to abuse the fact that we just inverted their mid laner's asshole to take an uncontested dragon, but unfortunately this smolder is as dense as a boulder, so Operation Bail a Bitch Out Part 16 is in effect and at least one ADC was gonna die. We fart around a bit under the fantasy that their team's tank can actually die, and then I'm like, okay, it's not gonna happen, let's just get the objective, as I head back towards dragon like the rest of my team should have. Thinking at least this is free, but guess who the fuck had to deep throat a Morgana Q like the total slut for CC she is, which baited me back in hoping to play some damage control, only for tanky twat waffles to return, and everyone knows me and a windshitter ain't killing that. This dragged on, no pun intended, until the mid we killed for this numbers advantage like 80 seconds ago was back, which meant our asses were grasses, and let's just say thank God this ape was dedicated to getting the dragon while my dumb ass was more distracted than an ADHD toddler at a EDM rave, so like Harambe, he was a monkey who died a hero. And then I had enough, but I'm a tank so it's not like I was gonna die, I just totally walked out untouched. That said, the crushing reality that my own coworker is this tadpole playing Smolder was setting in as she loitered in the Leona zone a bit too long, and even though I kept Samira more locked down and knocked up than a pregnant Beverly Hills wife, there comes a time when the ADC had to do at least a little bit of anything in order for us to win that, so unfortunately their tank had a bit more spank in that one. So I took a trip up north, texted my top laner and said, how would you like to be able to say see you later alligator, and it actually makes sense, and he thought that was hilarious. Mainly because he was drunk as shit, which also meant it took us forever to actually kill the reptile, but it was a good time up there. This I guess opened the door for our windshitter to do windshitter things. But then I decided to visit my hometown to see if I could remove the scarring memories of dealing with that Disney Channel dragon from laning phase, and seeing as Leona generously let me ass grab her ADC, we removed Davy Jones's side whore from our sights with ease, and then bonus round as some icing on top, with the help of just my entire team we were able to take down the tank Leona as well. This resulted in a situation where peer pressure led to us vandalizing a statue, which was sure to piss off the local prom queen, in a fight where the kill was secured, and you know what they say, if you trust your ADC to carry you should never steal kills from them. So I tried my ass off to time getting the kill on the morgue. That said, I had a run-in with the Blood Bride shortly after, and thankfully I was tanky enough to survive and experience the front row seats to the windshitter show while realizing that no one was even looking at me, because tanks just aren't worth fighting, as we killed every last one until just one tank was left. He one-shot my sea monkey of course, and there was nothing fun remaining in this fight, so I hooked a wall, hit a flashy piece out this bitch, and we were in the clear. Long story short, we got in position to slap around Drake, you know, a little Kendrick fantasy, but rather than grouping for objectives I was more concerned with asserting my raw dominance as a tank support over a supposed carry in this game by giving Samira directions back to her own fountain. Oh, and instant karma for me being a petty bitch, my entire team got shit on when I was doing so. Anyways, my whole team hated each other at this point based off of chat, all while their Talon was like, hey, assassins aren't weak in this meta, before proceeding to attack me and fail almost as hard as Smolder's ult, as I kept him pinned down and pissing himself long enough for even the most brain dead of ADCs to kill him off. This only got worse for him, as with each passing minute it became more obvious that the modern day Rift is no place for assassin players, but in the same breath I had to rush south because the sped airbender was up to no good and someone had to be the hero. Which prompted a bit of a situation for me. Psych, I'm a tank. It was never even close, but you see, both teams were benefiting from this utter bullshit, as their Leona could position worse than a screen door on a submarine, let three of us play an entire best 2 of 3 game of patty whack on her ass and still survive long enough for the rest of her team to come in and remind my Smolder that League of Legends just isn't the right game for her. The fights will continue on as everyone but the tanks slowly die off until bam, Leona emerges 10 seconds later with almost full health thanks to someone in Uncle Rito's sped head thinking Warmogs was a good idea, and sure enough this resulted in a fight that felt fantastically engaging for all parties involved. But what I eventually learned is that with a bunch of CC and my entire team in the area to contribute, we could eventually take down the underleveled support with no casualties. At this point in the game I honestly felt unkillable. Partially because of my defensive stats, but mainly because no one on the enemy team even gave me any attention. You'd think while it's super unfun for everyone else involved, at least it's fun for the giant juggernaut, but it's lonely just running around with no one even willing to make eye contact with you. It's not rewarding to be the kid on the playground that no one wants to play with because you are just too strong, better at the monkey bars, and don't get boo-boos when you fall down like the rest of them. By the end of the game I was such a lockdown CC whore of a submarine with all the tools in my kit to be invincible and bring my team of suicidal windshitters, not nice people named Nice Person, and one of the worst Smolders to ever play this game all the way to the enemy nexus for the win, as I carried, without feeling like I carried, because tank meta is just unfun, and that's my essay on why there are less Dantes playing League of Legends than there used to be.